Hi everybody. I'm going to make something really fabulous for you all today. It's a fun Christmas thing and it's really easy and I think you're going to like it. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to take this out of the microwave so it doesn't beep the whole time. So I'm going to show you step by step how to make a Christmas tree bread. It has a spinach and cream cheese filling in it. So let's get started. I'm going to take a bowl, and this is a 12-ounce package of spinach. And let me tell you about the spinach. With frozen spinach, it is very, very important that you get all of the water out when you're using it in a filling so that your crust or whatever doesn't get soggy. Okay, to that I'm adding 8 ounces of cream cheese, and it is very soft. And the recipe called for 6 ounces of cream cheese, but I didn't find it to be quite enough, so I used the whole 8-ounce package. And I just want to say here, full disclosure, that this recipe comes from a blog called It's Always Autumn. And it's a really fun blog, so check it out, but that's where I got this recipe. All right, and I am just mixing this together, and you don't have to completely mix it because you're gonna add a few other things in, and you can just mix a little bit along. So you've got your very dry spinach. And let me just tell you one more time about the spinach because it's so important. What I did was I put it in a colander after it thawed and I let it drain. And then I squeezed all of the water out of it with paper towels. And so when it's mixed up, this is what it looks like. So to the cream cheese and spinach mixture, I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic minced. I'm gonna add, okay, this is a combination of a cheat sheet because I don't want to forget everything. So this is a combination of 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. So you throw that all in, and don't worry, the recipe is going to be on my blog. And I'll just put it on Instagram too, so you'll be able to make it. And because this is just such a fun dish for a party or for breakfast, or just anything, you're gonna love it. All right, so I'm just mixing and mixing, and I think this is good. So now I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of grated parmesan cheese. Throw that in, and then I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of grated cheddar cheese. It all goes in and it gets mixed up. And I'm gonna have to turn the camera to show you how to put all this together. But it's really fun, and I would speed it up, but I think it's helpful for you to see the whole process as I'm doing it, even though it's easy and you're going to enjoy doing it. And get your kids to help you with this because this is a fun one. All right, so that is all mixed up. Let me show you one more time what it looks like. And it helps if your cream cheese is really soft. You might want to even put it in the microwave for a minute, or not a minute or two, like 20 seconds, just to get it really good and soft. And so here is the finished product. And I'm going to use a tube of refrigerated pizza crust. And so you open it up. It always is easy when you're not on camera. Okay, wrong side. All right, got it. So you open this up and have a plate nearby. I'm going to turn the camera just a little bit so you can really see what I'm doing, and I'll hold it up periodically. And I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way. So these are just my spices. I just wanted to show you I used a grated Parmesan cheese that was already pre-grated, which is fun in something like this. You could certainly take the time to do it yourself, but I don't really see that there's a need for that. So have a spare plate close by because you're going to trim your dough, but you're going to need to use, my dough just popped. You're going to need to use the extra pieces of dough to shape your Christmas tree. Okay, so I have a parchment lined baking sheet, and I got these great pieces of parchment from Amazon, and they are so helpful for everything. So I've really liked those. I'll put a link for those as well. Okay, so you just unroll your dough. It doesn't matter if it tears a little bit, but you do want to keep it on the parchment. Okay, so I've got it laid out on the parchment. This is what it looks like. Here. don't need to see me, you need to see what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. And you're just gonna stretch the dough out into a big rectangle. And I'm going to press and fix this hole that I have in it. You don't want a hole in it. So just press it together, make sure you've got a solid piece, and you want it to be a fairly good rectangle because you're gonna want a Christmas tree. Okay, so I'm stretching it just a little bit to make a good rectangle. All right, and then I'm gonna take a knife, and you don't want to cut it all the way the first time, you just kind of want to eyeball it. So I'm starting in the middle of the dough at the top, and I'm cutting not all the way through, I just want to see my lines before I cut all the way through. Cutting to the corner. So you're going to do that on the other side, and then if it looks good, you can kind of see what I did. So if it looks good, you can go ahead and cut it all the way through. And you're going to save these other two pieces to make a top for your tree. Okay, so I'm going to take these pieces that I'm trimming and just lay these on the plate. I have one in the oven to show you. Hold on a minute. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty, but I'm not going to show you yet. Okay, so you've got a Christmas tree that looks like so. All right, so I'm going to take this filling, and honestly, I just use my fingers because it's so much easier that way. So just put the filling on top of the Christmas tree and press it in. Just use your fingers. Because it's not really spreadable. I mean, it is, but you're going to tear your dough up if you try to spread it too much. It's easier to just press it. So you're pressing and pressing, and it's a pretty thick layer of filling. But the next part is the really fun part that you're going to enjoy. And it makes such a pretty presentation. Okay, almost done here. Yeah, go ahead and use it all. Make sure you've got it even all the way up to the tippy top. And you could even, if you have any dough left over, if you wanted to stretch it a little bit, cut out a little star or a trunk for your tree. But I'm not going to do that here in the interest of time. Okay, and so here you take your extra pieces and you want to make another Christmas tree right on the top of this one. And you're going to have to stretch it a little bit. All right, and then I'm just going to trim it because mine is a little long. So this is what it looks like. All right, and then you're going to want to just take your fingers and pinch together the middle. So you've got a solid piece of dough. And then take your knife, you need a really sharp knife for this. And so you come just a little ways down, I'm gonna say 2 inches, and you just start to slice. And I'm gonna do one side and then the other. And you're slicing the little slices, you don't wanna go all the way through. So you want a trunk, if that makes any sense. So slice to the seam, and then you can do it on the other side. And so I'm gonna say these maybe are 3/4 of an inch, but you can just eyeball it. And you'll see once you get going. And this really comes together so quickly. I can't wait to show you what the finished one looks like. And make sure you're cutting all the way through. It just makes the next step easier. Okay, so I've done this side, and then it's easier to just flip it around and do the other side. So starting at the bottom, going all the way through. And you know, dough is very forgiving. It's going to be pretty even if you make a little bit of a mistake. So just keep going. And you know, as I was doing this, I was thinking of endless options. You could use this pizza crust and you could fill it with jam and cinnamon and sugar and nuts. You could make a little cinnamon roll Christmas tree with butter. You could even use some cream cheese and butter. You could put a drizzle of a confectioner sugar icing on the top. Just so many options for what you could do with the same technique. And so I'm going to turn it around. It looks just like this. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to start from the top. And on the very top ones, you want to just stretch them a little bit. So you stretch and twist. And then stretch and twist and just keep going down. I did it so perfectly on my first one, but this one is a tiny little bit uneven. Probably because I'm trying to make this video not be 20 minutes long. Okay, so just keep twisting, almost done. You see how quickly this comes together. And I don't know how well it freezes, but I'm making 2 here, so we're gonna eat one tonight, and I'm gonna freeze the other one. So I'll let you know when I pull it out how well it freezes. Just make sure as you're twisting, especially the bottom ones, that you're twisting it all the way from the trunk. Just because it's prettier that way. All right, I'm down to the last ones. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven, and I'm going to show you the finished product. Okay, so how fun is that? All right, I'm going to put this one in the oven. Hang on. And this is the finished product. Isn't that fabulous? It just is so much fun. Okay, and so what you do after this is you just take a spoon or a brush if you have one, and you're gonna drizzle, this is melted butter. It's about 2 tablespoons of melted butter. It has a little garlic powder, a little salt, and a little more Italian seasoning. And you just want to drizzle it all over. It smells so good. Oh my gosh. Well, what could be better than breadsticks and butter with a little garlic? So yes, just a beautiful presentation, and your guests are going to love this. Your family's going to love it. You're going to love it. It takes no time at all, and just it's so much fun. So let me show you one more time. I'm trying not to drop it on the floor here. But I'm just so happy with how this turned out. I'm going to put some pictures on my blog. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope that you'll make this recipe and post a picture and tag me. All right, thanks so much for watching.